Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I've got a small haul that I wanted to share with you. I went to Sundance Orchids in Fort Myers, Florida, picked up some great deals during their July sale, and those are sitting on the table in front of me, and I'd like to share those with you. I also have some additional things just that I'm going to add to the video today that I wanted to share with you as well, and that'll be on the end. Just some interesting other stories and things. So it's a small haul. As I've told you many times before, my collection is pretty full. My space is really full, and with all of the seedlings that I have coming, I just don't have space for that many orchids. So I'm very selective with the new orchids that I add to my collection, and I also try not to add too many. I controlled myself. I didn't get carried away, which is tough. I've heard from some of you that also have gone to the sale, and I'm not sure how well you controlled yourself, but you know, it's hard, and it's easy to have fun when there's so many orchids around and they're so nice, and it's fine. So buy what you need. It's all good. All right, so I have 4 orchids that I want to share with you today. The first one is right here. And this is a small little orchid. There's no flowers on it. And I kind of teased when I went and did the video and did the tour of Sundance that I was going to pick up one of these. And this is a really small Brassavola cucullata. And I picked this up. This is a species, and I really like the flower on this plant, and these were very reasonably priced, and with the sale that they offered, they were even more reasonably priced. So this is a small plant. It looks like it's in like a 2.5 inch pot, and we'll see if I can get it bigger, and we'll see if I can get it to flowering. But even though it's a 2.5 inch pot, the roots are kind of crawling over the edge of the pot and attaching to it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this in here for a little while or whether I'm going to pull it out. But this is one that I like because the flower, like I said, is so unusual. The sepals and petals are very long. The crosses that I've seen with Brassavola cucullata contain some of those same characteristics. With the hybrids, the flowers tend to be small, but they have the really elongated sepals and petals and lip. So it brings in some really nice characteristics into the hybrids, and that's really what I want this for, and I want to use this for. It's an interesting looking plant. The flower's white, but I'm interested more in the characteristics, the shape of the sepals and petals and lip on the cucullata. So we'll see how this goes. Another one right next to it, I've got another species right here, and this is a Dendrobium, and when I was visiting Sundance, I called this a bigabum, and I heard from one of you and who apparently laughed at me, which is fine, and said that it's pronounced by gibbon rather than bigabum. The interesting thing is, I was in an Orchid Society meeting last night and overheard somebody talking about a Dendrobium bigabum. And it's, I looked it up, carefully looked it up, and it actually is by gibbon. And the reason for that is it's bi means two of, and gibbon I think means humped. So this is two-humped. It may refer to the flower shape, but this is a species. It's very small. This is, as you can tell, the plant is only this big, and this has 2 flower spikes on it. So this is a really small Dendrobium, and what I'm going to do is use this in crossing because I have some very large Dendrobiums. Again, when you have limited space, you want to try to get some reduced size Dendrobium. So I'm going to cross this with some of my big ones to see whether I can get something intermediate or on the smaller side with a big flower. So what I have right here is, and I thought this was the same thing, there's a lot of the same flower characteristics, and I thought this might have had a bigibbum in the background, but it doesn't. But this is a really compact Dendrobium. This is Mini Purple Queen. This is a small plant, as you can tell. It's got one flower spike that's open, but it has additional 2 flower spikes that are coming out on this plant. So this is a real floriferous plant that is kind of what I would be going for. Maybe bigger flowers, but kind of a compact plant that's really floriferous with maybe some bigger flowers is what I want to try to get out of the Dendrobium bigibbum. So we'll see how that goes. All right, this I threw in. This I didn't buy at Sundance, but this I kind of wanted to throw in there to show you, in essence, what I'm looking for when I'm going to be making these crosses. And I have crossed this really compact Dendrobium. I have already crossed it onto some of my big ones. So I've already started this direction, and I'm going to try it with something that is a species just to see what I get. All right, 2 more orchids from my haul. And this right here is a real nice one that I didn't think I would buy, but it ended up in my box. It's a really nice orchid. So this is BC. It's a Brassicatlia Hamlin's Magic Leilani, and this is a really common orchid. I've seen it for sale in a lot of different places, but this is a nodosa hybrid. And the nice thing about this, the flowers are a little bit bigger. There's some color and I think some spotting in the sepals and petals, and not really in the lip. But this is the reason that I like this plant is it's very, very vigorous. It's just growing over the edge of the pot. It's putting out a lot of new pseudobulbs, a lot of flowers. Most of the plants that were there had blooms on it, so it looks like it's another really floriferous plant that I want to try to use for breeding. The only thing that's kind of holding me back on this is I looked, and there's no hybrids, there's no progeny that are listed from Hamlin's Magic. So I'm concerned that there may be some issues with either pollinia production or fertility or something along those lines. But, it flowers a lot. We'll try. It doesn't hurt. Even if it doesn't, even if I can't get progeny from it, it's a nice plant. It's a nice little plant, and I'm probably going to have to end up putting it in a larger pot because it really is, like many of the nodosa hybrids, it really is incredibly vigorous. Okay, last one from Sundance is right here, and I'm pretty excited about this one. So this is RTH Foo Shoo Glory. The cultivar is Happy Holiday. And let me see if the sheath here, there's a sheath on this plant that is, there's nothing in it. It's kind of hollow. It's kind of swollen a little bit, but you can feel there's nothing in there. This plant also appears to be fairly vigorous. I got this plant because of the flower, and I'll put the flower up on the screen. It is really interesting because of the flaring that you see in this flower and the coloration there. I don't know how big the flower is. We'll see when it blooms. It's the roots are growing really nicely. It's putting on a new pseudobulb, and we'll see how this goes. But I really like this flower and to use it in my crosses. That's why I bought it. So right now I just added 4 new plants to my collection. I think most of them, with the exception of Foo Shoo Glory, are going to remain pretty small. I don't think they're going to get huge. All orchids, the cucullata, it can get big. The Hamlin's Magic, everything can get big, but the plants themselves, the growth habit is small, so I'm going to try to keep it small. Switching gears, so this is my haul from Sundance Orchid, that these 4 not this one here, but these 4 plants right here. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that I went to my Orchid Society meeting, my local Orchid Society meeting last night, and it was a fun night. It was bingo. It was Orchid Bingo. And, you know, when you're playing even bingo for orchids, it gets competitive. So it was really interesting, and you know, we try to keep it in order, but people just go, they get really aggressive. And it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of winners. You know, whenever anyone would say bingo, I'm like, ugh, because that means that your chances of winning or winning the nicest plant are lower. But it was really, it was fun. It was put together. It kept everyone riveted. Certainly the people that won the most bingo games had the best time. For the most part of the night, I was unlucky. I had some unlucky you know, bingo cards, and I won at the end. There were 3 plants left out of the 42 plants that were brought in for bingo, and there were 2 plants left, and I finally was able to yell out bingo. And what I did is I picked up this guy right here, if I can grab it and bring it over, and this is, it's not normally something that I would pick, but it's actually a pretty cool flower, and it is a Dendrobium. This is a Dendrobium green flash, and I'll put the picture of the flower up on the screen here. So this is it's actually, the flower itself is really interesting. I'd be interested to use it for my crosses. The disappointing thing is I don't think any progeny are listed from this Dendrobium. So I'm not really sure what it's going to provide and if I'm going to be able to get any, you know, any seed from it. I tend to be successful with my Dendrobium crosses, even if there's not very many seed that I get out of my crosses, because I flask my own seeds. I put them all in there, and even if I'll only get 10 or 20 or whatever low numbers I get, I'm doing my own flasking, I'm patient enough, and I'll get something out of that. One of the hybrids that I'm really excited about is my Dendrobium Woohoo, and that was another one of those. That's Wu-Lang times Judy Roots, and I'm excited about that one because I got very few plants. Very few viable seed and very few plants from my cross, but the ones that I got are incredibly vigorous. And I've got my first plant, hopefully, and I think I've teased you about this already. I've got my first plant from that cross that I made, where I flashed the seed less than 2 years ago. The first plant is going to flower, and some of the other plants that I have are also really big, and they look good. So I'm hoping that I can get just a few seeds off of some of these unusual Dendrobium crosses and get some really unique hybrids that are then going to be really special. So anyway, again, this is Dendrobium green flash, really interesting flower, and I'm happy to get it. I was told when I picked this up that when I put this, when I grow this, that I need to kind of put a lasso or hold the top of this up because it tends to grow out, and you can see this happening right here. It tends to grow out and flop and grow out and flop, which some Dendrobiums do. Usually the taller ones do that. And again, so that's the reason to hybridize these, a big tall one like this with a nice short one like this, or a nice short one like this one here. So we'll see. I'm gonna pay attention to what my orchid growing colleagues shared with me as far as keeping this kind of tied up, and see if I get anything out of it, and I'll keep you updated on that. The last thing that I wanted to share with you, and let me get this back in here without destroying anything, is another Dendrobium that I brought into my meeting last night, and I've shared this with you before, and I'm excited about this one. So this is another it's fallen over. This is a Dendrobium inbred that I made. So this is a self of Wu-Lang, and these flowers have been on this plant for, I think, 3 weeks. The flowers have been there a long time. They're not fading. They are all open. Wu-Lang, I've shared with you, Wu-Lang is it's got some fragrance. It's actually got some pretty good fragrance that's associated with it, and it's one of the reasons that I really do love Wulang. Aside from it being a nice vigorous plant, it's one of the few dens that I have that's fragrant. And I've been smelling this for the past 3 weeks since it's been blooming, and I didn't smell anything up until today. And today, I don't think it's this one. Yeah, let me move away a little. No, it's this. So there's some. It's really light. It's a really nice floral fragrance that's coming from this Dendrobium Wulang progeny. It's a self of Wulang, so it doesn't quite have, the dark flower lip, but it's not completely white. There's some purple fringe, tinge in the petals, yeah, I'm starting to get some fragrance out of it. I don't know if it's going to keep on going. If it's really slow to grow. I looked just out this morning. I was looking at one of my other self-progeny plants of Wulang that has a very similar flower to this, and it's putting out another spike also. So I'm going to have to pay attention to this. I've got a few other ones that don't look as nice as this one and my other one. I actually like my other one a little bit more because it's got a little, the lip is a little more purple. So when that blooms, I'll share that with you. But I'm thinking I'm probably a month or maybe 2 months away from that. All right, so again, this is This is Dendrobium Wulang. That is, okay, there we go. That is a self of this, and so what you see with a self is you get a kind of a sorting out, a mixture. You get some of the parent characteristics, but not all of them, because it looks like both parents and then beyond, depending on what traits got carried out. But I'm happy because this is one of the few dens that I have where there's fragrance associated with it. Okay, I'm not going to share this one with you. I think I've shared this with you before, but things are going well. My orchids are just going like crazy. I am going to give you an update of some of my seedlings, specifically the seedlings that I took from the 2-inch pots and put into the 4-inch pots. Those they like the extra space, and it's putting out. They're putting out new pseudobulbs, and some of them are getting big. And it's always happy when your seedlings are getting big, and kind of a little hint of flowering down the road. Not quite yet. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.